The products in this video have been supplied by Thermaltake. A link to their Facebook page and their website will be in the description. Well, you know what they say, once you go mechanical, you never go back. Wait. Alright, so you guys know how we roll. We'll do a bit of an unboxing first and see what we've got inside. Okay, so not much to see yet, but obviously the keyboard on top. So, okay. Just get this cable out of here. Just sit that aside for a second. See what else we get. So, just get a little booklet with some information, probably some instructions on how to do the different features and a bit of a warranty policy. Got a little box here which I'm assuming is going to be the keycaps, which it is, and a key puller as well. Looks like there's a fair few keys in there. We'll have a bit of a better look at that down the track. Now let's have a look at this keyboard then. Alright. So, yeah, it's a pretty clean design, pretty straightforward. You can hear that trademark Cherry MX Blue sound. But apart from that, pretty straightforward unboxing experience. So let's have a bit better look at it now. So this is the Thermaltake eSPORTS Meka Pro Gaming Mechanical Keyboard, and it retails for $139 Australian. This particular version has Cherry MX Blue switches, which happen to be my personal favourite, but you can also pick it up in MX Reds or MX Browns if you happen to prefer those, and all the switches are rated at 50 million clicks. It measures in at 439mm wide by 132mm tall, and is 36mm high and weighs 1.2 kilograms. It's connected by a USB cable, which is 1.8 meters long, and unfortunately non-braided and non-detachable. It also doesn't feature any USB or audio pass-throughs, and the media control keys are dual function, not standalone. It features N key rollover with anti-ghosting, so you can press as many keys as you like and it will correctly register them all. If we flip it over and take a look underneath, you can see it's a very clean design. There's not much going on under here, except we can see that there's 5 rubber feet, or 7 if you count the adjustable feet, which by the way allow you to set it at 2 different height levels. You'll also notice that there's no cable routing options. The cable simply comes straight out of the back. As expected, the keycaps can be swapped out, which is why Thermaltake include the spare keycaps in the packaging. The process of swapping out the keys is pretty easy with the included key puller. And this is a nice touch because it allows you to create the exact look you want. And also because there's an increasing number of gamers and PC enthusiasts now who like to get complete custom caps made up for their keyboard. As far as the lighting goes on the Meka Pro, it's red only, but this keyboard doesn't need RGB lighting. There are 7 different lighting modes, of course if you count off as one of them. You've got static, which obviously is pretty self-explanatory, pulse, reactive mode, ripple, wave, and sparkle or random. It also has 4 pre-configured game type lighting modes. It's got an FPS mode, a MOBA mode, MMO mode, and an RTS mode. It also has 5 levels of brightness. And as we saw briefly when we swapped out the keycaps, you'll notice each key is individually backlit, and there's a red baseboard underneath each of the keys, which really helps accentuate the overall red glow from the lighting. And as far as software goes, there isn't actually any accompanying software with the Meka Pro. All the functions of the keyboard are controlled by physical button inputs, which includes the macro recording on the fly, which actually has 6 macro keys on the number pad. And with a simple combination of key inputs, you can record custom combinations or macros in real time. Alright, so what does it sound like to type on? So just in closing, let me talk about the things that I think are the bad first. Now, number one is, for me, the lack of dedicated media keys or a volume control wheel is a bit of a pain. I know that not everybody uses those, but for me, I use them a heck of a lot, and having standalone keys for that is very, very handy. The other thing is that there's no RGB lighting, but in saying that, if you're like me, you buy a keyboard, you set one color, and you leave it. Now for me, I like to just set it as red, which happens to be what this keyboard comes in by default. But if you really want that RGB, then you could perhaps look at something like the Thermaltake Poseidon Z RGB, which is only $10 more and has almost the exact same aesthetic, but features RGB lighting. Another thing is, when I swapped out the replacement keycaps to the red ones, they actually seem to be a fair bit more translucent or glowy than I wanted. Now, I'm not sure if this is the look that Thermaltake were going for with the replacement keycaps, but for me, I think it's a little bit of a distraction and doesn't quite fit with the rest of the aesthetic when they're on there. Now, perhaps they could have done another coat of paint or even a black base coat underneath the key to really sharpen up the glow of just the letter itself instead of the whole key. Okay, now on to the good. So first of all, it's a very well built keyboard and it's very solid. It has almost no structural flex and it's backed by a 2-year warranty, so you've got that peace of mind. Also, for $139, I think that the pricing is just right. It definitely comes in closer to the budget or entry range of mechanical gaming keyboards, but I'm not aware of many other options out there that offer more for less money. Not to mention that if you're a fan of red, then because of the clean aesthetic, it should suit your build perfectly. I also like the fact that they chose to include genuine Cherry MX switches. There are a few keyboard manufacturers out there that have their own key or their own version or takeoffs of the MX keys, but for me, I've yet to feel one that actually feels as good as the MX switches, so it's really nice to have those genuine switches in there. It makes the keyboard feel good, you know it's good quality, and it should last. So thanks again to Thermaltake for sending the keyboard over for me to have a bit of a play with and to review for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.